Coming up on We Talk News this week, more industry reaction on the HHS recommendation to move cannabis to Schedule 3. 14 Republican lawmakers are already telling the DEA to keep cannabis at Schedule 1. Plus, New York opens its cannabis market to the MSOs. California approves cannabis cafes as an addition onto existing dispensaries. And the Cherokee Nation in North Carolina votes to allow adult use sales despite rejections by their state legislators. And High Times sells its brand to Lucy Scientific for licensing and help paying off their debt. Plus, golf, music, and business come together in the Bay State for the second annual THC Open. Plus, late-breaking shocker out of Massachusetts Cannabis Control Commissioner Shannon O'Brien suspended by her boss, the state treasurer. All that and coast-to-coast cannabis news on We Talk News with Elena Pinto. Next!
We are Pro Cannabis Media.
In Vermont, the Cannabis Control Board calls the shots on regulations and violations. But who is going to hold that group accountable for any errors they make? For instance, this past week, the Bureau sent out an email to licensees about incomplete product registrations. This communication error was discovered when some licensees got approval for products they had not submitted. Jessie Lynn Dolan has our Vermont report, sponsored by Cannatrol.
I'm Jessie Lynn Dolan from Vermont Cannabis Nurses, and this is the We Talk News Vermont Report. This weekend is packed full of fun and music for the Vermont community. Lamoille Connect presents a celebration of cannabis culture in northern Vermont, hosting Keep On Growing, a fusion of Pink Floyd, Talking Heads, and Fish on Saturday the 16th in Belvedere. Higher Calling, 2 days of music and camping in Cabot, Vermont, is being hosted by Cannabis Retailers of Vermont, with a portion of profits going to help cannabis businesses affected by the July flooding. The Green Mountain Patients Alliance, a nonprofit group advocating for an affordable and accessible medicine, is hosting a virtual community discussion on Friday, September 14th, to discuss August Cannabis Control Board's Medical Stakeholder Committee and roundtable meeting, as the second of 4 planned meetings is scheduled for the end of September. Cannabis adult use businesses, patients, and caregivers are invited to attend and encouraged to join grassroots advocates working towards much needed improvements in the medical program and for patient support statewide. That's the Vermont Report for Weed Talk News. I'm Vermont's cannabis nurse, Jessie Lynn Dolan.
We've got breaking news for weed lovers everywhere, and it's specifically for the superstars of the cannabis world, the growers. 2 meat and cheese experts in Vermont have revolutionized the dry and curing process of harvesting flower. Remember, this is a living plant, and part of the process, once you harvest the plant, you have to invert it and dry it so all those magical cannabinoids can reach their maximum potency in the buds of this flower. Now back to Vermont and Cannatrol. That's where David and Jane Sandelman have been curing and drying meats and cheeses for years. Now they're applying their years of experience to the cannabis space, and they are blowing up the market.
So we turned the whole thing upside down. We created the perfect environment. You put the flower in, and then it dries to the perfect moisture content, and now it's curing. You don't have to move it out of the space. You don't have to guess when it's ready or not. And it just comes out amazing, sticky bud. And we said, will this work for cannabis? So we built a small unit, which is now our home unit.
When did you do this?
The small unit, probably about 3 years ago, was the first prototype. And we gave it to a grower, and he said, this is the most amazing flower I've ever produced. And then we thought we were onto something. And we made a couple more, and now there are thousands of them out there, and people love it. We then scaled it back up to large commercial size, like a cheese aging room, but now these are rooms for drying flour, where people are doing 1,000, 1,500 pounds at a time into rooms. We have places with multiple rooms, big grow operations, and they're producing some of the finest flour the industry has seen.
Do you enjoy being in the cannabis space now?
Oh, it's great. 5 years ago, if I told me I was standing at a weed show, I'd go, you're crazy. And here we are. at a cannabis weed show.
No, David, you're not crazy. You're ingenious to apply your craft to a new industry at just the right time. If you want to find out more about Cannatrol and this revolutionary process for drying and curing so you get the most out of your plant harvest, contact them at info@cannatrols.com.